In the dead of night, under a moonless sky, something extraordinary happened. A wild Mustang Foal, born in the heart of the Wyoming wilderness, began to glow. Not a faint shimmer, but a radiant, otherworldly light that defied all logic. Scientists rushed to the scene, but what they discovered would change everything, and leave them with more questions than answers. The Wyoming wilderness stretched endlessly, a vast expanse of rolling hills, dense pine forests, and jagged mountain peaks. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and damp earth. A storm had passed hours ago, leaving the ground slick with rainwater and the sky clear, dotted with a million stars. Somewhere in this untamed landscape, a herd of wild mustangs roamed freely, their hoofs pounding against the soft earth in a rhythm as old as time itself. Among them was a young mare, her coat a rich chestnut brown, her eyes sharp and alert. She moved with the grace of a creature born to run, her muscles rippling beneath her skin as she led her herd through the dense underbrush. But tonight, something was different. The mare paused, her ears twitching as she scanned the horizon. A low, almost imperceptible hum filled the air, sending a shiver down her spine. The mare's nostrils flared as she caught a strange scent on the wind, something metallic, almost electric. She turned her head, her eyes narrowing as she focused on a faint glow in the distance. It was coming from a small clearing, where the underbrush had been trampled flat. The mare hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to flee, but something compelled her to move closer. As she stepped into the clearing, the glow intensified, casting an eerie light on the surrounding trees. The mare's breath caught in her throat as she saw the source of the light, a newborn foal, lying motionless on the ground. Its coat was a pure snowy white, but what truly set it apart was the soft, pulsating glow that emanated from its body. The foal's eyes were closed, its chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The mare approached cautiously, her nose brushing against the foal's side. The moment she made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her, sending a jolt of electricity through her veins. She reared back, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. The foal stirred, its eyes fluttering open to reveal a pair of glowing, otherworldly orbs. The mare stood frozen, her breath visible in the cold night air as she stared at the glowing foal. The hum in the air grew louder, vibrating through the ground and into her hooves. She took a cautious step back, her instincts torn between protecting the strange creature and fleeing from the unknown. But before she could decide, a sharp crack echoed through the forest. The mare's head snapped up, her ears swiveling toward the sound. In the distance, the faint glow of flashlights cut through the darkness, accompanied by the crunch of boots on wet leaves. Humans! The mare's heart raced as she glanced back at the foal. Its glow was intensifying, casting long shadows across the clearing. She knew she had to act fast. With a soft whinny, she nudged the foal with her nose, urging it to stand. The foal wobbled on unsteady legs, its glowing eyes wide with confusion. "Over here! I see something," a voice shouted, "closer now." The mare's ears flattened against her skull as she turned and bolted into the trees, the foal stumbling behind her. The forest was a blur of shadows and light as they ran, the glow from the foal illuminating their path. Branches snapped underfoot, and the sound of pursuit grew louder. Dr. Evelyn Carter adjusted the strap of her backpack as she trudged through the dense underbrush, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. Beside her, Dr. Marcus Reed scanned the area with a handheld device, its screen flickering with erratic readings. "This doesn't make sense," Marcus muttered, his brow furrowed. "The radiation levels are off the charts, but there's no source. It's coming from everywhere and nowhere at once." Evelyn tightened her grip on her flashlight. "Keep scanning. If there's something out here, we'll find it." The team had been called in after reports of a strange light in the wilderness. Locals had dismissed it as a prank or a trick of the light, but the scientific community wasn't so quick to write it off. Now, as they pushed deeper into the forest, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. A sudden rustling in the bushes made her freeze. She held up a hand, signaling the team to stop. "Did you hear that?" Before anyone could respond, a burst of light erupted from the trees ahead, blinding them momentarily. When their vision cleared, they saw it, a small, glowing foal, its coat shimmering like starlight, standing in the middle of the clearing. "What the—" Marcus trailed off, his device beeping frantically. Evelyn took a cautious step forward, her heart pounding in her chest. It's beautiful." The foal tilted its head, its glowing eyes locking onto Evelyn's. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then, with a soft whinny, the foal turned and bolted into the trees, its light fading as it disappeared into the darkness. "After it!" Evelyn shouted, breaking into a run. The team followed, their flashlights bobbing as they chased the elusive creature. The forest seemed to come alive around them, the trees whispering secrets in the wind. But no matter how fast they ran, the foal always stayed just out of reach, its glow flickering like a will-o'-the-wisp. Finally, they emerged into a small clearing, where the foal stood waiting. Its glow had dimmed, and it looked almost ordinary. Evelyn approached slowly, her hand outstretched. "It's okay," she whispered. "We're not going to hurt you." The foal took a tentative step forward, its nose brushing against her hand. The moment they made contact, a surge of energy coursed through Evelyn, filling her with a sense of awe and wonder. She gasped, pulling her hand back as the foal's glow intensified once more. What is it?" Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn shook her head, her mind racing. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it's unlike anything we've ever seen." The foal's glow pulsed rhythmically, casting shifting patterns of light across the clearing. Dr. Evelyn Carter stood transfixed, her hand still tingling from the electric surge of contact. Beside her, Marcus fumbled with his equipment, the device's screen now displaying chaotic waveforms. "Radiation levels just spiked again," Marcus said, his voice tight with urgency. "Evelyn, we need to back up. This could be dangerous." But Evelyn didn't move. Her eyes remained locked on the foal, its otherworldly gaze seeming to pierce straight through her. Memories flickered at the edges of her mind. Her childhood spent on a Montana ranch, the night she'd stayed up nursing a sick foal by lantern light, the way its fragile heartbeat had felt like a miracle under her small hands. This was different. This was impossible. And yet, "It's not radiation," she murmured, more to herself than to Marcus. "It's something else." The foal took another step forward, its hooves leaving faintly luminous imprints in the damp soil. Behind them, the rest of the science team hovered at the tree line, their flashlights trembling. A sudden thunder of hooves shattered the silence. The mare from the forest burst into the clearing, her chestnut coat streaked with sweat, nostrils flaring. She positioned herself between the scientists and the foal, her body tense and ready to charge. "Easy," Evelyn whispered, raising her hands palms out. "We're not here to hurt you." The mare's eyes darted between the humans and her glowing offspring. For a heartbeat, the clearing held its breath, then the foal darted past its mother, nuzzling Evelyn's jacket pocket where she'd stored an energy bar. Marcus choked back a nervous laugh. "It's hungry." The absurdity of the moment broke the tension. Evelyn slowly reached into her pocket, unwrapped the bar, and held it out. The foal sniffed it cautiously before taking a delicate bite, its glow dimming to a soft shimmer. "That's it," Evelyn coaxed, her biologist's mind racing. Why would a neonate herbivore show interest in human food? Unli. A twig snapped in the forest. The mare's head whipped around, ears flattening. From the darkness came new voices, rougher, accompanied by the metallic clink of equipment. "Told you they'd lead us right to it," a man growled. 5 figures emerged from the trees, their faces obscured by black masks. One carried a rifle slung over his shoulder, another held a heavy-duty net. The leader, a hulking man with a scar across his brow, stepped forward, his eyes locked on the foal. "Step away from the animal, Doc," he said, his voice like gravel. "That's corporate property now." Evelyn's blood ran cold. She recognized the logo on his jacket, Gentech Industries. The same company that had tried to buy her silence 6 months ago when she'd exposed their illegal gene editing trials. Marcus moved closer to her. "Corporate property? That's a wild Mustang." The man smirked. "Not anymore. Our sensors picked up its unique emissions. Patent pending." The foal pressed against Evelyn's legs, its glow flaring erratically. She could feel its rapid heartbeat through her jeans. The mare charged suddenly, hooves flying, but one of the men fired a tranquilizer dart into her neck. She collapsed mid-stride, her body hitting the ground with a dull thud. "No." Evelyn dropped to her knees beside the mare, fingers checking for a pulse. The foal let out a high-pitched whinny that sounded almost human, a cry of pure despair. As the foal's distress grew, so did its luminescence. The clearing brightened until shadows vanished entirely, leaves glowing translucent green like stained glass. The Gentech men shielded their eyes, cursing. "Grab it now," the leader barked. Evelyn acted on instinct. Scooping the foal into her arms, it was lighter than it should be, its warmth humming against her skin, she bolted into the trees. Marcus followed, ducking as a tranq dart whizzed past his ear. "This way," he shouted, veering left toward a rocky outcrop. The forest became a kaleidoscope of light and shadow as the foal's glow reacted to its panic. Tree trunks pulsed with bioluminescent fungi where the light touched them, as though the very woods were awakening. Evelyn's mind raced. Symbiotic reaction? Quantum bioluminescence? None of the terms fit. Behind them, the Gentech team's shouts turned to screams. Evelyn glanced back just as a massive pine tree shuddered and bent, impossibly, its branches lashing out like whipcords to block their pursuers. "Did you see that?" Marcus panted. "Run now, theorize later." Evelyn clutched the foal tighter. Its light was stabilizing now, chartreuse beams cutting through the forest like laser guides. They stumbled into a hidden valley, its floor carpeted with glowing blue moss. At the center stood a stone formation unlike anything in nature, a perfect spiral, its surface etched with symbols that shimmered faintly. The foal squirmed in Evelyn's arms, reaching toward the structure. "It's a beacon," Marcus whispered, awestruck. As the foal's glow interacted with the stone, holographic images flickered to life. Scenes of Mustangs galloping under alien skies, of glowing foals nurtured by strange, elegant beings with elongated limbs. Evelyn's breath caught. "They're not mutations. They're messages. Living records." The foal nuzzled her cheek, and suddenly she understood. Not words, but impressions, an ancient pact between species, a DNA library encoded in hooves and heartbeats, and a warning. The ground beneath their feet began to vibrate. The ground beneath Evelyn and Marcus trembled, the glowing moss rippling like water. The foal wriggled free from Evelyn's arms and trotted toward the spiral stone, its hooves leaving trails of light. The holographic images intensified, showing a timeline of Earth's history. Mustangs galloping through ancient plains, their glowing descendants guiding lost travelers, and finally, a warning, a dark force encroaching on their world. "It's not just a beacon," Evelyn whispered, her voice trembling. "It's a gateway." The foal reached the base of the spiral and let out a soft, melodic whinny. The symbols on the stone flared to life, and the air around them crackled with energy. A low hum filled the valley, growing louder until it felt like the earth itself was singing. Behind them, the Gentech team burst into the valley, their leader clutching a bleeding arm. "Shut it down," he roared, raising his rifle. Evelyn stepped in front of the foal, her arms spread wide. "You don't understand. This isn't just about profit, it's about survival. Ours and theirs." The man sneered. "Move, or I'll move you." Before he could act, the mare, awakened and furious, charged into the valley. Her hooves struck the ground with thunderous force, and the glowing moss erupted into a blinding light. The Gentech men stumbled back, shielding their eyes as the mare positioned herself protectively beside Evelyn and the foal. The foal's glow intensified, merging with the light from the spiral stone. The symbols began to rotate, faster and faster, until the entire valley was engulfed in a swirling vortex of light. The vortex stabilized, revealing a shimmering portal. Through it, Evelyn glimpsed a world of endless plains and twin suns, where glowing Mustangs ran free under skies painted with auroras. The foal turned to her, its eyes filled with gratitude and sorrow. "It's time," Evelyn murmured, tears streaming down her face. "You're going home." The foal nuzzled her hand one last time before stepping toward the portal. The mare hesitated, glancing back at Evelyn. "Go," Evelyn urged. "Protect him." With a final, lingering look, the mare followed her foal into the portal. The vortex began to shrink, the light dimming as the gateway closed. The valley fell silent, the glowing moss fading to a soft, natural light. Evelyn and Marcus stood in stunned silence, the weight of what they'd witnessed settling over them. "What do we tell people?" Marcus asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn shook her head. "The truth. But not everyone will believe it." She knelt and picked up a single glowing feather that had fallen from the portal, a memento of the foal's journey. "The mysteries of the natural world are deeper than we can imagine. What other secrets lie hidden in the wild? Like, share, and subscribe to Thunder Hoofbeats for more untold stories of wonder, science, and the extraordinary bond between humans and nature. Hit the bell icon to never miss an adventure. And tell us in the comments, what would you do if you encountered a glowing foal?